Greetings, audiophiles and Mass Effect fans. Welcome to my reading of my fanfiction, After the Fall. This is a Mass Effect fanfiction, and as such, most of the characters and the universe belong to BioWare/EA Games. No copyright infringement is intended. However, the scenario and occurrences within this fanfiction are my intellectual property, so if you decide you want to share this with someone, credit me. Please. Part 24. Battle. It only took a few minutes for Shepard to realize that this was a fight she and her crew could not win. "We need to get out of here, we're just going to die in this kill sack," she shouted into her comm. "Agreed," Liara's voice answered, sounding strained as she and Kaidan worked together to keep their barrier up. Shepard signaled Kirrahe and Tali with a quick motion, gesturing back to the control panel they had been dismantling. "We've got one option now. The Keepers are closing off our exit, so we have to get this working and get to the Peacekeeper before it's too late." Keeping low, even though the biotic barrier protected them for the moment, the Salarian and Quarian rushed to where Shepard squatted before their unfinished work. "I think we may have been onto something here," Tali said encouragingly as she picked up two wires she had been splicing together. Shepard watched her friend's nimble hands work, trying not to notice the quaver in the young Quarian's voice. "Report," she asked over her comm, forcing herself not to look towards the combat as she held a bundle of wires aside for Kirrahe. "The barrier's still holding," Kaidan answered, his voice already sounding exhausted but determined. "No sign of the enemy slowing," Garrus reported as well. Shepard heard the thundering bang as his sniper rifle fired. She imagined the clean kill. "Casualties?" Shepard asked, carefully fusing a small piece of metal to another with heat from her Omni tool. "I took a graze to the arm," Vega answered her, "but I'm all right. We're doing good, Lola. We can hold on." "I hope so," Shepard thought as she gritted her teeth so hard her jaw hurt. "Come on, you son of a bitch," she breathed. She heard a grunt and turned in time to see the biotic barrier reduce in size. Grunt and Rex, who were forward-most in the formation, found themselves high and dry, and suddenly the target of a lot of fire. "Damn it!" Shepard shouted. "Get that barrier up!" She looked over at Kaidan, expecting him to be the one having difficulty. Instead, Liara had taken a knee, her upraised arms shaking visibly. Several Keepers had climbed the walls and landed on the barrier from above. "Rex, Grunt, get back!" Shepard cried. The two Krogan were attempting to do just that. She saw both their shields deplete, but they wore armor that was far more sturdy than the standard Alliance gear, so they could safely take more fire. Still, Shepard watched in horror as blood splashed from a wound in Grunt's shoulder as he took his first real hit, then another from Rex's thigh. Shepard dropped what she was doing. Pivoting on her knee, she grabbed her shotgun from her back. Without second thought, she charged past her crew and out of the barrier. She grabbed Grunt, the nearer of the two, by the back of his armor, and began guiding him backwards so he could focus on firing. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Rex take two more shots before the Krogan leader grabbed the nearest Keeper, lifted it above his head, and ripped it in two. While the sight would have sent normal enemies scattering in abject terror, the Keepers did not seem to notice the blood and intestines of their comrades showering down on them. Then Malik was there, also grabbing Rex's armor and pulling him back. She saw flashes of blue as her shield took several shots, but by the time it depleted, she was back within the barrier. "What was that?" Garrus called angrily from where he squatted, taking advantage of a good sniper angle on some Keepers that tried to follow Shepard and company through the barrier. "I don't know," Shepard panted, her voice sounding more like a ragged bark than a human language. "Instinct?" "Well, don't do it again," the Turian snarled, downing another Keeper with an expert headshot. "I'm not losing my wife so soon after marriage, is that clear?" "Yes, sir." Shepard almost allowed a smile to reach her lips, but then was distracted by Rex, who fell to one knee with a painful grunt. "Whoa, easy, big guy." Vega had joined them, reaching for his medical packet. "I got him, Commander. Get that elevator working, and fast." "Yes, please." Kaidan spoke between gritted teeth. Liara had managed to force herself to her feet and was reinforcing the barrier once more, though her hands still trembled. Shepard rushed back to Kirahi and Tali. The quarian was on her back, her upper torso completely inside the control kiosk like someone working on a car. Kirahi motioned for Shepard to stay off of the elevator platform. After a few moments there was a sound of electricity jumping, and the platform moved free of the floor with a slight hiss. Shepard watched with surprise and pleasure. "All right, let's start getting people on board. I haven't figured out how to make it work without me manually activating it," Tali said, turning slightly so Shepard could see her eyes. No. Shepard knew what her friend was about to suggest, and she wasn't going to let that happen. "No one stays behind. Either we all go up, or none of us go up," she said fiercely. Tali hesitated, then nodded, sliding back under. "Let's get the first group up. The platform is not large enough for everyone at once." "Rex, Vega, Grunt, get over here," Shepard called. Vega supported Rex, who was bleeding and firing his shotgun with little care for either. Still, each of his shots yielded him a kill. Grunt limped over as well, eyeing Shepard. "You sure about this? You think it's a good idea to put all your Krogan up where they can't help you?" "It's logic, Grunt. You were wounded, you get out first. Besides, what if it's worse up there? Who better to handle any surprise than a Krogan?" This seemed to appease the younger of the two, but Rex gave Shepard a look she knew all too well. She had seen it years ago on Vermeer, when he had threatened to revolt. His small eyes were dark, questioning, but ultimately, as he had done on that day, he chose trust. That was why Rex made the best leader for the Krogan, Shepard knew. Other Krogan followed their own ideas, their own strength. Rex was able to put his aside and trust hers. Perhaps only hers, but it was a start. She reached out and grabbed his armor, giving it a reassuring tug. "Once you're near the opening in the ceiling, you won't be covered by the biotic barrier for a few seconds. Make sure your shields are full." "You got it," Rex said, eyes still locked on hers. "Go, Tali," Shepard said. The quarian's upper torso disappeared beneath the console again. After a moment the elevator jerked to life, slowly transporting its passengers upward. Shepard watched them go with concern which she tried not to show. This would work. This had to work. Fortunately, the Keepers didn't seem to notice the few moments that the elevator was free of the biotic bubble. Some shots flew in that direction, but not many. Shepard heaved a sigh of relief as she saw her squad mates vanish up into the ceiling. Hurriedly she tapped her comm. "What do you see?" Rex's voice came back at once. "A large, empty room with a view of space. Your planet doesn't look half bad from up here." "Any Keepers?" "Negative enemy contact," Vega spoke up. "Good. Let's hope it stays that way. Take up what tactical positions you can. We're bringing the platform back down." "Roger that, Lola." Tali's arms moved and the elevator came back down very quickly, smacking into place in the groove in the floor. Shepard jumped. "Right. Well, I guess we won't be standing under that thing if we can help it. Okay, Kirahi, Javik, Garrus, and Malik, you're next." Garrus glanced at her as he took another shot, the bullet passing through the head of one Keeper and killing the fellow behind it. Shepard was sufficiently impressed. "I'm not sure if I like leaving you down here," he said, popping the heat sink from his rifle and replacing it in one practiced motion. "I can't send Liara, Caden, or Tali until last," Shepard pointed out. "And you know there is no way in hell I'm going up there before I make sure my crew is safe. Now do as you're told." Garrus made a snorting laugh, and took 2 more shots before heading for the elevator. "I was almost out of heat clips anyway," he said offhandedly, giving Shepard a slightly flirtatious smirk. He paused, grabbed the back of her helmet, and pulled her forehead to his. Their helmets clacked together, but she little noticed as she drank in the sign of affection from her mate. "Be safe," he said quietly. Javik and the Geth offered up no protest. Shepard only needed to give Kirahi a firm nod to move him along. Then up they went. Caden and Liara reduced the size of the barrier after that, coming to stand with Shepard. "All right, Tali," Shepard said. "Time to come out." "How are we supposed to get up there without me manually activating the elevator?" the quarian asked, peering nervously out at the hordes of massing Keepers. They swarmed the barrier like ants on the cling wrap around a tasty treat. Shepard did not like the implications of that line of thinking. She shook her head, trying to keep her mind clear of visions of reapers, of collectors, of her crew being slaughtered before her eyes. Her heart was doing a complicated two-step in her chest, but she forced herself to keep calm. Kaidan, you said really good biotics can burst a single blood vessel in an enemy's brain? Yes, the man answered, watching her out of the corner of his eye. She could see a vein pulsing in his temple with the strain of maintaining the shield against the bodies of the keepers. But I'm not that good. You were good enough to levitate us 2 beers. Can you use your biotics to activate the elevator? Not and keep the barrier up. I've got it, Liara said. Her voice was shaking but defiant. You're sure? Kaidan shot her a concerned glance. I can keep a small bubble around us as we head for the top, she said, nodding firmly. That's all the plan I've got, Shepard said, looking at her fellows. We don't have a lot of choice, Tali pointed out, her voice tight. She aimed her shotgun but did not bother firing. There were far too many keepers to make a dent. Everyone on the platform, Kaidan said fiercely. Shepard got into her comm. How's everything up top? She asked, not wanting any surprises. Still good, came Vega's reply. No sign of hostiles. Shepard stepped onto the platform, then nodded to her friends. She felt Tali tuck herself against Shepard's protective body, a bit like a child hiding from a monster. Without thinking, Shepard wrapped her arm around Tali's shoulders. Let's go. The barrier became much smaller around them, and several keepers plummeted from where they had been standing on it moments before, landing on and crushing their fellows. They seemed to take no heed of this, swarming forward as eagerly as ever. Liara took a knee, her eyes blazing with pure blue light. Kaidan turned his focus on his own task. Shepard saw his face tighten with concentration. The muscles in his jaw flexed, his eyes narrowed. His outspread hands twitched as he sent an orb of biotics down towards the control panel. Shepard could feel the excess biotics rolling from Kaidan's shoulders like rainwater. It made her hair stand up like static. Hurry, Liara grunted as keepers threw themselves at the barrier, seeming to have forgotten their weapons in their fervor. I've almost got it, Kaidan crowed, his fingers tensed, then came together in a claw as the elevator began to rise. It moved slowly, haltingly. Shepard could see it was taking its toll on her friend. Blood trickled from Kaidan's nose, and another blood vessel had burst in his eye. Still he fought on, and the elevator rose. Keepers fell back, confused and milling around. Some remembered that they had firearms and began shooting again. These shots bounced off of Liara's barrier, though the Asari flinched with each one. Tali and Shepard fired back, taking out one keeper after another. We're almost there. Shepard looked up, seeing the waiting faces of her crew peering back down. Then Liara's barrier went out. The Asari gasped, hand to her temple. Shepard saw her shield take several shots, as well as Kaidan's. Shepard moved to block Kaidan with her own body as more bullets rained around them. She heard Tali yelp, and then Liara make a sound that was half scream, half roar. Suddenly the keepers went flying back, forced by the wave of pure biotic power. They smashed together with such force that Shepard could hear limbs snapping like twigs. Then they were up, and Kaidan stepped off the platform and collapsed. Liara whimpered and slouched to a sitting position as Tali fell against Shepard. No, 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 no! Shepard turned to catch the falling quarian in her arms. Tali had taken a shot in her side, and the blood leaked freely from her suit. Damn it! Shepard lowered herself to the floor, cradling her bleeding friend. Oh, Goddess, I'm so sorry, Liara panted, eyes wide and frightened. Someone check Kaidan, Shepard shouted. She needn't have. Garrus was already kneeling at the unconscious biotic's side. He's alive, Garrus said, which is all I can tell you for the moment. I don't know if injecting him with Metagel is the right call. The Turian's voice was hesitant. Just make him comfortable, Shepard instructed, as she saw Kirahi and Javik move towards the limp human. Malik had wandered a bit further away from the rest. Shepard Commander, he said, turning his one glowing eye to face her. Where is the VI? Shepard glanced up, her hand poised over Tali, having just injected the quarian with a dose of Metagel. This was the place where she had faced the VI the first time. She could never forget. It haunted her waking moments and dreams alike. Yet there was no sign of the child. She could see the Normandy hovering patiently in space, waiting for them. She could make out Harbinger as well, still and menacing. Her home planet shimmered blue and green before her eyes. From here she could not see any damage. The Earth looked like a perfect marble. Where was that kid? As if in answer to her thoughts, there he was, still with the appearance of a child, as though extracting the most harmless form it could find from Shepard's mind. "Take her," Shepard said to no one in particular. Liara scooted forward and gently took Tali's head in her lap, and Vagan knelt, reaching for more Metagel. Grunt and Rex moved forward, as though to place their massive bodies between Shepard and the VI. She stayed them with a gesture, standing and striding over to meet the hated child machine. "Fascinating," said Malik. "We meet again." Shepard folded her arms across her armored chest, a force of habit when she talked to someone for whom she had little esteem. "It is interesting that you have returned," said the VI. She could detect her own voice in the thing's tones, and another, unknown male voice. "It will not save you, but it does intrigue me. You are not only the first person to reach this place, but also the second." "And the last," Shepard snarled. Was it her imagination, or did the VI flinch, ever so slightly?